You're welcome to Breakfast Central. Thank you for starting your day with us bright and early. I mean, it's bright on this part here. We don't know what it's like, wherever you are. But regardless of where you are streaming live on YouTube. News Central TV is the platform. And we're taking comments from our chat box as well. Donald Trump has said no rest for the Nigerian government. Well, if he has said no rest, where are we to rest? We must show up here at work. My name is Olive Emodi, and this is Breakfast Central. And I'm not doing this alone, of course. The man, Joe Hansen, is here with me. Hello, Joe. Donald Trump has said no rests. We all lost for neck like bow tie.
Trump is like the sermon to the church. So he's ensuring that he must push that narrative. But that's how we start this morning's show on News Central's Breakfast Central. I'm Joe Hansen, and we are here. We'll be here for the next 3 hours. Big stories to look into. One of which Olive has mentioned. Donald Trump didn't just post a tweet or on Truth or on X, but he has gone as far as making a video. And in that video, he's stating clearly what he had said initially and why he's reiterating it, and trusts, of course, what the world is doing. Everyone is obviously going there, having their own opinion, having their own say, while the Nigerian government has continued to emphasize that it is not what is being said. Now, we're going to look into this story and many more. Plus, there are counter reactions here and there. We also found out that there are some politicians who haven't said anything yet concerning this Donald Trump Nigeria story, the USA invasion. And many have also highlighted that why is it that the religious leaders who are bold and talk every now and then have all of a sudden kept mute or quiet?
Well, maybe because a number of them just feel like it's not something that they want to. It feels in some measure like a bandwagon conversation. One. In another instance, it feels like people are trying to be politically correct. There are people who have a perspective but don't want to offend either party. They don't want to offend the federal government of Nigeria because they have interests there. They do not want to offend the United States.
Wait.
They don't want to. Let me rephrase. They don't want to offend the presidency
because
they have
vested interest,
and then they don't want to offend the United States. So it's more like they'll take a center point in all of this matter. They're not taking sides. But at the end of the day, it is the Nigerian citizens. When Nigeria is designated as a country of particular concern, the implications are not little in any way. There are several implications in terms of what our economy would become or is or transitioning to be, because it might, will or has the potential to affect voter confidence. There's also the threat of the U.S. invasion, and President Trump has released a video. It's more like he feels like maybe the tweet or the post he put out were not convincing enough, so maybe you need to hear a video. So there's a video on the official White House page. But before we take a look at that video, let's look at the U.S. Senator Ted Cruz when he talks excitedly applauding President Trump and saying, he was very excited about Nigeria being designated a country of particular concern. Let's take a look.
So this weekend, President Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. That is tremendous news. It's something that I've been advocating for a long time. There is no country on earth where Christians are more persecuted than Nigeria. Since 2009, more than 50,000 Christians have been murdered by Boko Haram and radical Islamic extremists. More than 20,000 churches and schools have been burned to the ground. I introduced legislation to direct the administration to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. President Trump has done that. Thank you, President Trump. We're going to keep the fight going to protect Christians and to protect religious liberty.
And that is U.S. Senator Ted Cruz talking about applauding President Trump for designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And President Trump again has reiterated the fact that if Nigeria doesn't come in swiftly, in fact, they put out a tweet, a post on the White House page this morning, and in that video, President Trump had said the same things that we've heard before, Absolutely. But this time just doubling down on it and saying that if Nigeria government doesn't act fast, there'll be boots on the ground, they're moving, it will be sharp, it will be sweet, and the likes. I saw the video initially, I thought it was AI. Until I went to check the White House page, and so it was like this is the same thing President Trump has been saying, but basically trying to push for this and letting us know that it's not a it's not a joke, and they're not playing about it.
It's not, Olive. And this conversation has started to become bigger than what was expected. I think initially the presidency would have thought that as long as we've put out disclaimers and we've continued to educate not just Nigerians but the world that this is the true sense of what is happening in Nigeria, that by now the United States of America should have been able to back off and just allow Nigeria and the presidency and the government basically to handle the situation. But you see, more receipts are starting to come out. And when I say receipts, please take note. What I simply mean is more receipts that are, in other words, also highlighting what the presidency, what the president, which is the United States president, is saying, actually coming out. And guess who are the people talking? The people who are talking are currently even governors of the state here in Nigeria. I'll give you an example. You have a governor who had come out on national TV and then went on to say that he's very certain that the killings are not just ordinary killings. They're killings that are planned. They want to Islamize and so on and so forth. And these videos are also being played on social media. So where are we going with all of this? The point is, the current administration, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they have a lot of work to do. And I must say, well, so far so good. They're putting up the speed they need to put up. In other words, we see the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We see what they're doing. Yesterday, he was somewhere, so I saw a footage at the lobby of a hotel, and a few people came in. He's also spending time traveling, trying to ensure that Nigerians and also non-Nigerians understand what the true situation is. But how long are we going to go with this back and forth? The point is, one, was there a genocide? Is there a genocide? That's a question that needs to be handled clearly and needs to be spelled out correctly. I expect that the orientation agency by now should have put out a video very quickly. Put out a video. This is where I expect the government, and I'm going to say it clearly. I was thinking that when there was a launch of, was it electronic vehicles or something, the government, the federal government had taken some celebrities and took them abroad to India or something, and they were shooting and they were hyping, they were doing. Where's the same energy? Where are the celebrities? And by the way, where are also the celebrities? Where are they? I was expecting that by now, the celebrities who have been standing forth and saying, listen, we stand with this, we stand with that. Where are you? This is the time for you to come out. They
are settling fights with Regina Daniels and Ned Nwoko.
Okay, that's where they belong to now. Okay, no problem. Celebrities, where are you? The cleric, the big cleric, the ones we know with the big names, who talk tough, who speak, who are very grandiose when they speak, they don't hide their mouth. Where are they?
Well, a number of these pastors have been speaking.
All of you have.
At least off the top of my head, I know that I have seen Pastor Emmanuel Iren speaking about it. I've seen Pastor Philip Olubakin share about it. I've seen a number of these pastors share on their social media platforms about it. And
but
there's some even in their congregations.
There's some names.
Well, I don't know if they've spoken. I'm just saying the ones that I have seen that have spoken about it. Some I don't follow on social media. Some I haven't gone to look out for their posts. I know that also the celebrities that we talk about, a number, especially the gospel celebrities, they've been speaking about it. I've seen them share posts. I saw Layode Juliana share about it. I saw, Pastor Wale Adefarasin as well of Guiding Light Assembly has, shared about this as well.
There's some names, for those who are watching, they understand what, you're right, don't get me wrong. But for our viewers, they understand what I'm highlighting, where I'm going. Because when it comes to political issues, you'll find certain names who are very quick. Even when it comes to protests years ago, you will see them. They were very, very active. Where are they now? That's a question. Third question, Olive, and I think it's a question that bothers a lot on the current situation. Sometime years ago, if I'm right, 2019 or so, the current president had also tweeted, and that tweet has gone viral up until now. The tweet initially had died down. People kept bringing it back up. Even now, it came back up. But the president talked about the former president who was then in power, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that he's doing a bad job. And he highlighted that why are Christians? So that's also coming up. So it's a case of, okay, now we have issues bordering on this particular matter. we have to put up all efforts and everything to ensure that we handle it properly. It's a tough nut to crack, but trust me, I can rightly say that. Is the government doing what they can to dissolve the issue? Yes, they are.
I just want to read, I mean, we're talking about orientation agency coming to explain that video. So I want to talk about the definition of a genocide. I'm on the United Nations website. And, you know, it says, in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in parts, a national, ethnical, racial or religious group, such as 1, killing members of the group, 2, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in parts, 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, 5, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. So they then go on, and I think that we will do this here on Breakfast Central as well, do a segment where we break it down. What is a genocide? Share the numbers that we have, you know, the numbers that are available to the public in terms of these killings, do an analysis and leave the audience to decide what they will regarding the killings that have been happening in the Middle Belt area and in other parts of Nigeria, to be fair. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about this on X. The designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern is not the cause of our crisis, but a symptom of it. It is the international echo of a domestic failure. The true scandal is not the world's recognition of our plight, but the leadership that brought us here. This fear of invasion stems directly from the vacuum created by a government that has failed in its most fundamental duty to protect lives and property, while citizens suffer from terror and economic neglect. The response has been reckless borrowing and self-enrichment. Therefore, the logical and just response from the international community should not be the invasion of our sovereignty, but the targeted sanctioning of those who have plundered it. We must hold the architects of this collapse accountable, not the nation they have brought to its knees. Uba Sinachi says, Senator, the world would welcome a sincere effort from the United States to address the tragic killings in Nigeria. Yet, there is a pervasive perception that U.S. interest is not truly in the loss of life, but in the economic opportunities that arise from instability. Many believe Nigeria is labeled the country of particular concern, less because of the violence and more because of its strategic natural resources. This perception is reinforced when one compares the situation to other severe crises, such as those in Sudan and Gaza, which have not received the same designation. This apparent inconsistency undermines the credibility of U.S. foreign policy.
Very nice one. Well taken. Well, Ajofia Idiato says, sanctions won't fix what corruption and bad governance created. Nigeria needs justice and accountability from within, not foreign threats. Foreign interference disguised as concern has never helped Africa. That is concern. I'm a Nigerian Christian and I support this. The government of Nigeria is inept and pardons terrorists and Boko Haram members. Now, you see that last line. Just get in touch with UAE Media Office. They sent a list of those financing terrorism some time ago to the Nigerian government. Kindly ask them, what did they do with the lists? Okay. And this is a long one. Thanks, Senator Cruz. Crypto Dinho says, as a Nigerian, I'm not optimistic about U.S. military intervention, but you've 100% of my support and at least 70% to 90% support of the entire country to implement this part of your bill. My legislation implements additional steps, including targeting those who implement blasphemy and Sharia laws in Nigeria. In fact, please go farther than that. Revoke their visas and that of their friends, family members. Freeze, forfeit any of their assets in U.S. and allies tied to them in any manner. Eliminate them through covert, non-military ways. I mean, we're going to state clearly, we don't support that. I mean, you could have your opinion, but making that a very stern one, we don't agree with that. Please widen the net. Virtually almost all our politicians are responsible for the disaster through corruption. And that's all the tweets we're going to take concerning this particular story.
Again, I mean, in the next few months, we'll see what the implications of this weeks. I don't think months. I think this is not the first time that Nigeria has been listed as a country of particular concern. Donald Trump did it in his last administration in 2020. Nigeria was listed as a country of particular concern. In 2021, Joe Biden lifted us off that list and said that progress has been made. What the implications of this would be that there will be restrictions to the aid that Nigeria can get from the United States. And, you know, even in terms of export, there might be certain sanctions in that regard. But like we said, in the next few weeks, we'll see what that will mean.
We'll see. And don't forget, they also said the few names they're going to mention very soon, about 12 governors or so. So let's wait to see what that will look like. Let's move on to our next story now. The next wake-up conversation is about bandits. Well, we haven't really moved further. It's still within the circles of the same story. But this is a sad one. Bandits ambushed a Niger lawmaker. And while during the ambush, they killed soldiers who were attached and they damaged vehicles. That's a sad story as well, in line with that particular one, talking of insecurity. But it's quite sad. The Niger State lawmaker, the soldiers, and of course the Nigerian military force and everyone has condemned all of these acts, and they're putting up every single thing they need to do in order to ensure that they do well to stop all these senseless killings. But then again, it still bothers to with what we just said, which is our first story. But let's move away from that. Let's give you something that sounds like a pretty much interesting news. And it's got to do with what went down in the Senate. The Senate now has okayed 14-year jail term for any lecturer who sexually abuses anyone, even within campus and so on. He stands to spend 14 years in jail. Now, the Nigerian Senate approved the Sexual Harassment of Students Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2025, prescribing a 14-year jail term with a minimum of 5 years and no option of fine for educators found guilty of sexually harassing students in tertiary institutions. Now, this was sponsored and moved by Senator Okwemi Bamidele of APC Ekiti Central. The bill seeks to curb the persistent cases of sexual exploitation within Nigeria's academic system and reinforce accountability in the teacher-student relationship. Lawmakers describe the legislation as a bold step toward protecting students' rights and restoring integrity in high institutions, even as questions linger over how effective the new sanctions will be enforced across universities and also colleges nationwide. So, Olive, good one. I think this has been called for years. Just
to mention that, we already have legislation to punish sexual assault. First of all, the Nigerian Constitution is the ground norm. The Nigerian Constitution guarantees that your rights to dignity of human person. And when a person is sexually abused, what you're doing is you're stripping them of their right to dignity of human person. So the Constitution already provides an umbrella covering, and when anyone does actions in contravention of that, you should be made to face the law. But we can also rely on the Criminal Code, Section 351, 352, 360. Any person who unlawfully assaults another is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable, if no greater punishment is provided, to imprisonment for 1 year. Any person who assaults another with intent to have carnal knowledge of him or her against the order of nature is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 14 years. That's interpreted to mean the current issues with or the legislation Nigeria has against same-sex relations. Any person who unlawfully and indecently assaults a woman or girl is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years. And if you go to the north, in the Penal Code, Section 281, whoever, in order to gratify the passions of another person, procures, entices, or leads away, even with her consent, a woman or girl, for immoral purposes, shall be punished with imprisonment which may extend to 7 years, and also shall be liable to fine. And then finally, 285, whoever commits an act of gross indecency upon the person of another without his consent or by the use of force or threats, compels the person to join with him in the commission of that act, shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine, provided that a consent given by a person below the age of 16 years to such an act when done by his teacher, guardian, or a person entrusted with his care or education shall not be deemed to be consent within the meaning of his section. And then we can start going to state laws and all. But I think, first of all, that this is a step in the right direction. Having the laws, ensuring that we wield legislative instruments to combat an issue that we fight with. However, then taking it deeper to an issue that many have found to be a major challenge in our tertiary institutions. So I will applaud, our lawmakers for this positive move. Students in tertiary institutions face many cases of sexual exploitation. And this time it's not just from your colleagues, it's from your lecturers. If you speak with any Nigerian woman who schooled here, A number of them, a number of us, let me not say them, a number of us,
10.
I have my experience, I've shared it on this show, where a lecturer told me that the reason he gave me a D in the course is because I refused to give him my phone number. And I've called his name before, because every time I think about it. And he didn't tell me, it just did not make sense to me that I had a D in that course, because when I was taking the course, everybody warned me, Olive, don't take this man's course, he's a womanizer, don't take his course. My seniors warned me, but I get coconut head. I didn't listen. I went and I studied extra hard for his course because I needed to prove a point. And I didn't want a situation where it would be that I wanted him to be able to mark me good, beyond reasonable doubt. Yeah. And I remember second semester, he jokingly mentioned, you people should go and read from first semester. We set questions from first semester. Joe, people didn't take him seriously. I did. I went and read for first semester, such that we got into the exam hall. I saw that there were questions set from first semester. But guess who was prepared? Me. So I answered my questions very well. People were crying around me because they didn't prepare from first semester. Results came out. People that were crying were having B's and C's. I had a D. And it just didn't make sense to me. Tell me why in my final year, Joe, I was in class one morning reading, because I used to go to the class sometimes. We go early before class starts. Then he comes to the class and says I should come out. I come out and he says he wants to apologize to me for what happened last semester. That the reason I got a D in my course was because I refused to give him my phone number. But that he can rectify it. I should make him my project supervisor so that he will give me an A. This was not reported speech. This was my experience in university. And mine is even, it's mild in comparison to what some other women have had to experience. So I think it's a step in the right direction. But more importantly, my major concern is enforcement and implementation. Because you speak up against one. Many women don't want to speak up against these lecturers because you just imagine that they're going to gang up against you. It's a cabal. They'll gang up against you, and then there'll be no opportunity for you to be able to do well in other courses. So first step is enacting the laws. Second step is implementation. And
ensuring that it cuts across all universities, not a particular one. So that's it. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about this story very quickly, and let's see their reactions to this. Diwali says, 14 years is a good start. Some predators have been hiding behind, I'm your lecturer, for too long. School is for learning, not harassment. Thank you, Diwali. Let them understand. It's for learning. It's not for harassment. Nonso says, this is a good initiative. How well will it be monitored and executed? That's what Olive just highlighted. We hope that it's actually enacted ASAP, and anyone who commits should face the wrath of the law. How about senators and politicians that use their power to intimidate poor Nigerians? This one too, eh?
This one is shots fired.
Can we have a law that takes them to prison too, and those that steal public funds? You see these last two questions you asked there, until it's done, then maybe we'll start seeing changes. I support this law. Kudos to the Akpabio-led Senate, Kenneth says. And do we have one more tweet to go? Okay, that's all we're going to take here on this particular story on Wake Up Conversations. It's been back and forth, especially for Nigerian students, and I think this would be a good one. Sadly, many would have expected that these laws bordering on ensuring that lecturers are indeed handled not with kids' gloves, but of course with iron fist, would have come to the fore since. But it's never too late. There's a generation going and generation coming, and we cannot expect the same thing to take place. Let's move on now to our next story. The next story is one that has gathered so much on social media, and it's not about the U.S. Trump invasion. We need to take a breather on that story. This time it's about a journalist. A journalist has decided to take the bull by the horn, Olive. Decided to go to Senator Ned Nwoko's mini stadium. If you've been following the story, pictures were circulated online. There you have it, these pictures. And the pictures clearly pinpointed one thing, that Senator Ned Nwoko has built a mini stadium, all right there in Delta State, particularly in Iseluku, Delta State. And you can see how beautiful and lovely these pictures are. Now, if you are a football lover, a footballer, a youth, name it, you'd want to experience it, isn't that so? Well, a journalist decided to say, you know what, let me take a look around and see what it looks like physically. And this is what he saw. Take a look.
Now, the standard pitch in this place is this forest I'm currently showing you. And as you can see, it's overgrown and abandoned. Now, he also said that there are 2 stands in the project that was awarded. This is one stand that comes with the standard pitch. The other stand is all the way on the other side. I can't walk there to show you in this one video, right? And both these stands are basically forests. That's just the best way to put it. Therefore, this video is being made today, the 4th of November. It's just a completion of the series, and I'm walking through it to give you guys the rest of the lowdown. This is the forest, by the way. Remember, this project, this forest part of it does not concern Senator Nwoko. However, the stadium that the mini stadium he attracted, I will not lie, is attracting attention from the youths. We have young boys come here in the evening, come to play 5-a-side football. He said it's 7-a-side, where this is the pitch and this is the stand. I'm not talking about the other things like game room or dressing room. I don't know all of that stuff. You get, but this is the one I am looking at. It's perfect. So.
Okay. My first question is, was there a pitch or there was no pitch?
There was a pitch there now.
5-a-side. Small one, mini one.
So maybe what he's done is amplify the magnitude of what he's done, which also is not an honest thing to do, if that's what it is. Honestly, you know what? Maybe we should share what.
Let's go to.
Let's start with Ned Nwoko's tweet, and then we'll go to a clip. And in the tweet, he says, "The newly completed modern mini stadium in Iseluku is a symbol of our collective progress in Delta North. This project was conceived to inspire our youth, promote healthy competition, and strengthen community spirit. It features a standard football pitch, a 7-a-side multi-sports arena, which that journalist has told us looks more 5-a-side, pavilions on both sides, and well-equipped dressing rooms, all designed to create an enabling environment for sports and recreation. For me, every project is about impact, about giving our people access to facilities that uplift, empower, and unite. With this stadium, we are nurturing the next generation of athletes and leaders who will make Delta North proud. Our journey of transformation continues, one community at a time." Okay, let's see what Nigerians are saying about the stadium and the reaction.
Well, Jerry says this is exactly how propaganda thrives. A modern stadium that nobody in the community has seen. No coordinates, no pictures, no commissioning video, no beneficiary testimony, nothing. Just political poetry and a cheering squad. If the stadium truly exists, let them show the location on Google Maps, photos of the pitch, pavilion and dressing rooms, video of the completed site. Public office is not theater. We're tired of projects that only exist on paper. That's Jerry. Let's see who else is talking. Well, Chief Lauren says, with all due respect, Senator, this isn't progress. It's proof of how low our leaders set the bar. You travel the world, see real stadiums and sports complexes that create jobs, tourism and revenue. Yet, what you bring back home is a patch of grass and painted pavilions. Nigeria doesn't need another glorified mini project. We need leaders with imagination, people who can think beyond token gestures and build infrastructure that competes globally. These inferior projects only deceive the poor while the country keeps moving backward. Wow. Chuck says, why do old politicians lie a lot in times like this, where data and access are so easy to obtain? The worst part is that some people will still come and sing his praise. Chooks, I think some need to get with the program. We're now in social media age. Dear Ned, this isn't a mini stadium. This is mini football pitch. Thanks. Hi, Chief Lawrence. Igwins tells him. And the last one, the stadium is very fine. This is, what's sarcasm? Says this is FIFA stadium. Tech lawyer, be careful.
Okay.
Wow.
Ned Nwoko has been in the news, now not just for the criticism regarding this, but very sadly about his marriage and the issues that have fallen apart in his marriage. Now, it started with allegations of violence. His brother-in-law posted a video online that then snowballed into him giving a report on Instagram, on social media, where he accused his wife, Regina Daniels, of being violent and being addicted to drugs. Now, a flurry of reactions have come right after that. And what we've then seen is he's been quiet, but the latest allegations against him would be that they say they cannot find their brother. Regina Daniels and the family has spoken up saying they're looking for their brother, they cannot find him. And they accuse Senator Ned Nwoko of arresting their brother and taking him to, the police. They've been tagging the Nigerian police. You can see here, she says, this is now a case of kidnapping. Holding my brother down till I return is diabolical. What do I call this now? Love or obsession? You have always said that I am the most useless wife. Why then do you need that useless wife back? Free my brother. No matter what he did, his parents and family should be able to see him. Nigerian police, free Sammy West. And you can see the hashtag there. And then she says, please help me sign this. Her brother started a petition on change.org. And then in that petition, you could see that there are a number of people who have signed the petition. He said, let's say I have nothing. My family is nothing. But you know what I'm most thankful for? Aside every other thing that I am privately thankful for is the media. Even if I hate the media because it tried to break me, but I formed Jagaban. I'm actually thankful to everyone on this same media. Omo, thank you, everybody, from my heart. I see, I hear, I listen, but I'm mad too, she says. And then she goes on to say, please let's massively sign this petition Bro Lawrence created. And then she says, I come out for extended family, go they support polygamous home. And then she goes on to call herself really mad, saying that it's okay to mock her. So she's gone on a rant. The rant has taken the form of posts on social media. She even made a video, and in the video she talked about not having slept since 5 a.m. and how people have just moved on while they're sleeping. She said she will fight for her kids to get her kids back. And again, she mentioned that Ned had arrested her brother and she was worried about who will be the next person. The question is, where really is her brother? Regardless of what their marital troubles are, where is her brother? Can Senator Ned Nwoko speak to that? Did he manipulate law enforcement agents in arresting her brother? If that happened, that's an abuse of powers, and that should be checked. It should be checked. We hope to get feedback from him. As we wrap up Wake Up Conversations, very quickly, I'll take just 2 comments and we'll move on. Maurice Moye says, guns are blazing. I believe he's referring to the U.S. Trump invasion and the latest with Senator Ted Cruz. And Mokuye Chukwuemeka says, where are the prophets and pastors and bishops? They are mute, and that's in reference to what Joe said as well regarding why religious leaders have not spoken about the genocide and the allegations of genocide against Christians. Holiness says, we can argue all day, but the question is as follows. 1, has any community been sacked and occupied by Christians? 2, which religion is practicing jihad, and what is the meaning of jihad if not genocide?
Anyway.
Final one. Mokuye Chukwuemeka says, Ned lying in broad daylight, the audacity. And he was still tweeting about bills he has sponsored yesterday after the revelations about the stadium audio.
Well, we hope to see the international ultra-modern stadium, but since now we don't have it, people should manage the one that you have near the bush and enjoy football.
5 aside.
Yes.